that's better than never trying and looking back and having a rocking chair regret when you get older, wishing that you would have done something.
Hey, hi. Welcome back to the Wild Business Growth Podcast. This is your place to hear from a new entrepreneur every single Wednesday morning who's turning wild ideas into wild growth. I'm your host, Max Brandstetter, founder and podcast producer at Max Podcasting. And you can email me at max@maxpodcasting.com to save time with your high-quality podcast. This is episode 225. That's 2 1/4. And today's guest is Lindsey Fleischhauer. Lindsey is the co-founder of Totes Babies, which solves the problem, what the heck do you do with your babies while you're shopping? It is the baby car seat carrier for the shopping cart, a super cool product. And in this episode, we talk how to come up with ideas, even using something that is on your phone, running a family business, and Lindsey's incredible prowess with the claw machine. And I think a second career in stand-up comedy because she had me rolling. It is Lindsey F. Enjoy the show. Alrighty, we are here with Lindsey Fleischhauer, which I've been practicing the pronunciation, and I think I'm just going to leave the session now because I feel good about that one. No, but co-founder of Totes Babies, really, really cool company that, comes from an awesome story, and, you come from a very entrepreneurial and inventive family yourself. But Lindsey, so excited to speak with you today. Thanks for joining. How you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Of course. My pleasure. And really excited to get to the Totes Babies story. Totes excited. We're going to make jokes like that the entire time. I apologize. I'm sure you've heard all of them.
Totes don't apologize for it, just.
Yeah. Totes my goats. But let's start before you even got to your entrepreneurship journey. I know that back in college you studied theater arts. Where did the interest in theater come from?
I just wanted to act like I knew what I was doing half the time in my life.
Literally act, yeah.
No, I was always real into it growing up and being in little plays at school. And before I went to NIU, Northern Illinois University, for theater, I was in LA at UCLA. I studied acting too. And it was like a little summer program they had there where we met with different actors and directors and things like that. And it's just something I was real into, and decided to pursue it. So I didn't do a whole lot with it, but I did get a college degree in it. So it was fun.
It does sound fun. I mean, are there any lessons or skills that you learned there that do actually ultimately apply to entrepreneurship?
Oh, a ton. There's more than I thought as far as business-wise. I think just talking with people, being with people, socializing, and kind of just being off the cuff with things, especially with business, things get thrown to you every day, and no day is the same. It's not like a corporate job where you know what you're getting yourself into. Having your own business, every day is completely different. And that's how acting was too, where every directing gig was different, or being in a play was different, or, you just have to be ready for anything.
You do. I thought you were going to say what ties to entrepreneurship is acting like you know what the hell you're doing.
That is very true. You really do, though, have to act like, just with yourself, act like you know what you're doing when you don't, because just jumping in and doing it is the first step in being an entrepreneur and being an inventor.
Right. So did you say break a leg before you launch your business?
I should have. No, I didn't.
No, that's terribly corny. But how did you first go from, like, so you have the theater degree, you studied theater in a couple different places. What got you, besides, the money part, getting paid, making a salary somewhere, besides that, what kind of pulled you into the business world?
I think just my dad, he was a CEO of a very large retail store fixture company, which was a family business generating back from grandfather, great grandfather, and he grew the business to be, gosh, I mean, international. He grew it to be huge, and the acting thing obviously didn't work out after a while after college, so I ended up working for him, and I did so many different jobs within the company, which I'm very grateful for now because I got to see different aspects of a business. And I ended with, or the last job I had there was national sales account manager. So I would travel and do sales. And I think just learning from him and seeing all that he's done, he also holds now with our patents probably close to 50 patents. So I just learned a lot from him and knew that I wanted to be an entrepreneur myself. I just, years ago didn't know how that would happen.
What's your favorite entrepreneurship lesson that he taught you?
Gosh, there's so many.
Or you can list all 3,000 of them too if you want. We'll just
Yeah, yeah,
we'll
I'll
keep
do that.
recording.
I think the main thing that I can think of just in general that I've learned all around is that you just have to go for it and you have to learn from your mistakes. Because especially with starting Totes Babies, there's so many things that happen that you could be down about the mistakes or things that happen that are wrong, but so many of them you just there's such learning experiences because you learn from what you don't want to do, what you do want to do. So I think that's a huge one is learning from mistakes and just going for things even if you don't know everything about it.
So let's learn from Totes Babies. Let's get to Totes Babies. And I'm not going to make a Totes joke this time. Totes, believe me. But really, really cool company, and I think you're innovating in multiple product areas now. But at the start, where did this idea for the first Totes Babies product come from?
From my son who's now almost 6. When he was born, I as a mom, a first-time mom, I didn't know what the heck I was doing. B, I didn't realize how confined I'd feel in the home, like in my house where it's such a hassle getting out of the house and going anywhere. So I'd want to get, all doodled up to go even to the grocery store, and I'd get there and realize, okay, the car seat fits the whole shopping cart. I can't get everything I want. And if I try to take him out of the car seat and baby wear him or hold him or anything, he hated it and he'd scream and I'd get anxious. So it started from an actual pain point I had, an actual problem was shopping with my child. And I thought, gosh, if there's like a horizontal holder, very, very sturdy, that could go and have full shopping cart access, like this full cart access, that would be huge. And also, my son was huge. He was almost 10 pounds when he was born. So I knew it
My
had to
God,
be,
that's I'm like 10 pounds now.
yeah, yeah. Well, and I'm pregnant now too. So with my third boy, and I'm like, oh, okay. He might be another 10. I think it's just it's something where it's not something I thought about being pregnant, thinking, oh, I'm going to have a problem shopping. You don't think about these little pain points. And so I thought, okay, if there's a way to just make it super sturdy as well, since all babies are different shapes and sizes, and that it could last a long time, there needs to be more options. And so I actually drew out an extreme amateur sketch. I'm not a good artist, and showed my dad, who did a way better one. And because I knew if I wanted to do anything, I wanted to work with him because he, knows what he's doing in that sense of patenting things and inventing things. And so we just got to work.
I love the extreme amateurness. Some of the best ideas come from sketches or early prototypes like that. But it all stems from a real issue that you came across, and yeah, I think so many people can relate, especially in recent years, to like how much it sucks to like feel confined in your own home and having to get out there and having to feel like just it takes, especially in your situation, being there's so many steps just to get out the door and like do groceries and drive around and things like that. Once you had the first extreme amateur sketch, what else went into the product development?
And I think too, going back to that extreme amateur sketch, is that a lot of people, when they think of an idea, they think everything starting with that idea has to be perfect. The sketch has to be perfect. The idea has to be perfect. And I'm glad that I just started going with it because I could have lost interest in the idea. With that amateur sketch, I brought it to my dad. We made a different sketch. We kept thinking of different options, different ideas. And we went to a friend of ours that's an engineer, and he helped us obviously do a very good sketch prototype. My dad actually, though, went to Home Depot and got some supplies, and he made our first quote unquote prototype that was curtain rods that adjusted, a drop cloth he stapled. It was like our first little prototype, and I used it at Trader Joe's, and moms were asking me about it. That was a very amateur prototype, but it worked. And from that point on, we worked with friends of ours overseas that are still our manufacturers, and they helped us with it. And we had multiple we had to go through and changes and all of that.
I mean, besides that initial like support from the moms asking like, "Oh, what is that?" What was some of the most helpful feedback that you heard that actually kind of shaped what the product is today?
I think just that seeing parents being able to actually leave the house with the baby and actually something that's convenient and works. I think it also helped that I didn't wanna go shopping without it myself, and so I would use the prototype all the time, and I'm pretty picky about things, and I like things very simple, especially with baby things. So the fact that I used it all the time and other moms were interested in it and the convenience of it, I think if there's one any little tiny thing that can help a parent with a baby, keeping things more simple is a win.
Oh, totally. Yeah, I mean, I think that applies to most things in life. Is simple is better, and so
Right.
you experience that yourself with the product after you got like the product in a good place. That it's not just prototype and like you can use it yourself, but like we can actually start selling this thing. What were the steps to actually setting up a place that people can buy it and getting the word out about it?
Oh gosh, we first had to do, I mean, we had to go through lots of prototypes. We had to go through safety testing. We added, obviously, we have the safety buckle that's with it. With any baby product, you have to be super specific on safety. So that takes some time. And then from that point on, building a website, getting the packaging design and things like that. I think that what entrepreneurs need to know is that as far as packaging, web design, all of that, it does not have to be super expensive to do. We actually did our packaging through 99 Design, which is affiliated with Vistaprint, and they did a great job for super cheap, and we still use the same packaging design and the same designer. We've changed it a bit, but I think that do some research as an entrepreneur where you're not spending so much on things that you can save on, like the packaging and the website and things like that. So we got the website going. Again, we've changed that tons of times since then. We just started looking into like Facebook ads and different ads, set our launch date, which was August of 2018. We did a trade show. What's actually kind of funny about that is that we walked the Chicago Baby Show with just the idea of Totes Babies. And my dad and I walked the show, and I was like, we're going to have a booth here next year, this time next year. And we did. We launched it, and that was cool too, to have the goal of the trade show so that I knew like, okay, we want to have it ready by that and have the inventory. And we did.
I have to stop you right there because I launched this podcast in August of 2018. So that is a fantastic month for launching things.
Oh, yes. That's awesome.
We're totally on the same page here, so it's come full circle. But 99 Designs, I hear that advertised on the Tim Ferriss show all the time. So I know it's I highly recommended, but obviously worked out for you as well.
Right.
The trade show piece, I think there's so much value that can come out of trade shows, especially in the product space. And so many of our friends and mutual connection, like Kevin Lane from Creative Castle and
Hmm.
John Katz from Blendy. I'm not sure if you're connected with him, but he's tight with Kevin as well. Like I'm looking on social media and like they're attending trade shows all the time, at different, no matter what stage of like their products, lifetime they're at. What are some of the best things that have come out of, trade shows and conferences, events like that for you and Totes Babies?
From the trade shows we've done, I think just meeting other inventors, entrepreneurs, networking with those people, networking with different retailers that could be there. There were even, different product lines that we connected with that we could possibly do collaborations with. I think that networking is huge. Like for instance, with Totes Babies, we love being able to talk with different Shark Tank entrepreneurs, and we have different groups on Facebook and things like that where we all talk about different ideas and ask questions. And I think that's one thing that's so great about most entrepreneurs is that they're so open to wanting to help other entrepreneurs. So if anybody out there is ever having questions about something, always ask, because you never know unless you ask, right? So it's important to ask when you have questions, because people are more than willing to share information and things they know.
Oh, totes. That was sorry. Uh, totally. Yeah, that's a huge piece. What's the biggest question or what's the biggest like area of entrepreneurship that you had absolutely no idea about that you since know pretty well from your own experience or what people share with you?
Everything. um,
All right, we're gonna after you finish the list of lessons you learned from your dad and all of his patents. We're gonna get to the list of all the entrepreneurship lessons you have. So this is gonna be a 47-hour episode.
well, I think I learn more every single day. I learn something. I think right now, specifically, what comes to my mind is this day and age, content creation, social media, all of that is so important for businesses, yet extremely time consuming. And there's a learning curve with different things. And like Facebook ads, Instagram ads, TikTok ads. For Facebook, Instagram, we actually have somebody that helps us with that. I think it was Sarah Blakely from Spanx. She said, she was on Shark Tank once too, but she said, if you are ever in the position to hire somebody to do something you don't know how to do, do it, because otherwise, like, they know what they're doing, you don't, and you can learn from them. So initially, we actually hired somebody pretty quickly after I learned that I don't know what the heck I'm doing with Facebook ads, and it was just blowing money. You don't know where the algorithm's going to hit, who it's going to be reached to. So that helped a lot. I think just learning, wow, I can't do everything on my own. I need somebody that knows what they're doing to work with us. That can be hard for entrepreneurs, but it can be extremely beneficial.
And that's a perfect area to partner with somebody else on because yeah, Facebook ads, social media ads are like one of the best examples of things that if you know how to do it and you do it well can be great for your business. But if you're like testing and learning, you can start burning through your budget like super quick and being like, when are we going to see some payoff here? So that's a really good thing to outsource there.
Right. And I think even with TikTok and Instagram, and a lot of it I do myself right now. We've had people in and out helping us throughout the past couple of years, but it's a whole job in itself, having to make videos and get people to help with, especially with the baby business. We need babies, little baby models and moms, and it's a whole lot of work. But I think something I've learned just even recently is that just put something out there. You throw enough against the wall, something's got to stick. It's not about how perfect a video is. It's just about getting the point across and about being content that people like. But it's harder as an entrepreneur now because there's so many hats you have to wear, especially now with that social media aspect.
That is a fantastic pull quote. We need babies. I think you need to get that framed.
Take pictures of your babies, please.
Give us your babies. So in addition to, your first product for Totes Babies, you also like you're diving into more spaces as well. Like you have the bracelet, like you're adding to your brand. What has gone into, innovating beyond your initial product?
We do have an iPad holder, iPhone holder that's kind of just to match up with, that can go on like a shopping cart, a stroller. The iPad holder can obviously go on the back of a car. And those are just kind of little add-ons. The boogie bracelet is something we haven't even done any advertising, or besides Instagram posts or TikToks that we don't pay to advertise for, but we haven't done any actual advertising for those yet because we're still working on pictures and things like that for it. But that's kind of a teeny bopper, like tween product almost. We've noticed that a lot of people that do purchase them are like teenagers. Like they like to attach it to their backpacks or their little cheerleading bags or different things because you can put different little candies in it, hair ties, money. So it's just about figuring out how to find that demographic social media and things like that. So we do have the boogie bracelet. That's just a cute little fun keychain bracelet thing. And then we are constantly thinking of different ideas. It almost hurts my brain how much I think about it because we're not even limiting ourselves to baby at all. We would love to actually find something that isn't in the baby space too. So we're constantly kind of having our own little powwows. My dad and I, we always write down ideas and pain points throughout the day and we share them. We try to share them on like a weekly basis. And we've got a lot of ideas coming through the pipeline. So I'm excited.
How do you take note of those ideas? Like what's your actual process for remembering those and sharing them with each other?
Literally just writing them in my iPhone notes. Because a lot of times I think of ideas when I'm with the kids and we're running around, or a lot of times at night when I'm about to go to bed or when I'm up in the middle of the night. So I know I always know if I don't write this down, I'm going to forget it. So I write it in my notes on my phone and then usually type it up, on a Word document to keep it.
I swear they say, what do they say? Necessity is the mother of invention. I think Notes app is like also the mother of invention. Like there's so much
Yeah.
innovation that comes out of what's initially notes on the Notes app. Same with like content creation ideas. So I'm glad it's worked for your business as well. Another great idea. I just thought of this. Is signing up for podcasting to the max. Now, bear with me. Bear with me. I know it doesn't sound like something that will rock your world, but it will rock your world because it is where podcasting meets entrepreneurship. So if you're interested in those things, you will love podcasting to the max. You can sign up at podcast. I screwed up the URL. You can sign up at maxpodcasting.com/newsletter, and you get a free ebook on how to edit your podcast. Now, let's talk a little family business. So speaking of great ideas, let's get to inspiration and creativity, how you stay inspired, how you stay creative, and how you work inside of work. That doesn't make any sense. How you operate inside of working out. And you've mentioned your father, Stan, who, incredible entrepreneur, inventor, patent holder himself. And you two have just an awesome dynamic. So I would love to kind of peek behind the curtain of the family business there. I'm someone who's grown up with a family business. Like my parents started the year I was born. So like endless love for family businesses. What are your favorite and least favorite parts of working so closely with family on the day to day?
Honestly, some people are always like, "Oh gosh, you work with family. That's probably crazy." I think the fact that him and I are so different. I mean, we are very different. I'm a little more outgoing and he's a little more of an introvert and he kind of thinks more than he talks. I probably talk more than I think.
That is a great thing to say on a podcast.
Yeah, we just have a very good dynamic where we balance each other out. It's almost when I need help with something, he's there. If he needs help with something, I'm there. And we know our tasks and our things to do and when we need to work together on things. And before that, I worked with my brother too when we both worked for my dad's company and we got along great too. I think it's something just that we always knew with family business that if it were to ever get to a point where we're not getting along because of it, we probably shouldn't be doing it. So I've never gotten ever to that point with a family member. And my dad and I just always we work it out. I don't think we've ever fought about anything because we just know that's just going to keep us from getting to where we want to go.
And how often do you communicate with each other about the business?
Daily, multiple times a day. He actually he has other businesses he owns still. He's got a lot going on, but we just talked a little bit before I got on here. So multiple times a day.
What has been the biggest difference between like the family business that you grew up with and partner with your dad there besides, tag teaming this one?
With this, I mean, because we were selling retail store fixtures. So if you go into Target, Walmart, anywhere, the pegboard hooks, the signage, anything there, that's what was made through the company. Now this is a product. So something that could be in retail. So this is something neither of us had ever done. So we both had to learn together instead of me having, with retail store fixtures, he's known that since he was little. I'd learned from him or other people within the business, or my brother or another person in the company. With this, we both had to learn together what to do as far as having an actual retail product.
And outside of work, I mean, you mentioned that, well, it's kind of inside and outside of work, but you mentioned that you come up with those notes app ideas. Are there any sort of activities that you're typically doing, or like times a day when you do seem to think of more business ideas?
I think for sure before bed, where I actually don't have a child, screaming or
Yeah, that's got to be easy on the mind.
right, the dust settles at the end of the night and it's like, ooh, this, they kind of all start popping up, the different pain points throughout the day. A lot of them, though, also when I am with my kids during the day and something pops up or they have a problem. And my 5-year-old knows now, he's like, okay, this is a problem. This could be the solution, So he's kind of learning. He's got a little, a tiny inventor mindset of how to find solutions to problems. So I think between them, and especially at night when I'm able to kind of think straight, is when a lot of the ideas come about.
So let's go from thinking straight to thinking all over the place. So sorry about that, but let's get to the unusual. Pet peeves, quirks, weird talents. So this is mainly about you outside of work, but of course you can tie it back to your business if you want. But just personality wise, what is a pet peeve you have?
People that think they know it all and they don't listen to other people and they don't listen to what other people have to say. Like somebody that just thinks that they know everything when none of us know everything.
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's closer to none of us knowing anything. Yeah.
Right.
Totally. Yeah. Sorry for being a know-it-all. No, but what is a quirk you have? Something a little quirky about your personality that your family, kids, dad, somebody calls you out for, but it's who you are.
They just don't ever know what I'm going to say. They don't know what's going to come out of my mouth, what I'm going to do. Things just kind of fly out of my mouth. I think that's too why my dad was probably nervous to go on Shark Tank with me, because I get nervous, or not even being nervous. It's just things just come out, So I think it's kind of, I keep them on the edge of their seats. I keep them on their toes.
You and I are two peas in a pod, because I have the same sort of wild card aspect of me where I back when I worked in the corporate world, first job out of college, worked in brand management. And when we would brands would take turns presenting to the entire marketing group about, latest on their brand and, new ideas, things like that. And my friend and former coworker, Shannon, mentioned to me, she's like, I always enjoy it when you present because I never know what the hell you're going to say.
It is. I mean, it's a good quality to have, to be able to think off the cuff and to keep people on their toes and things. But I think, especially with family, when they know that's how you are, it's kind of like, oh, okay, here we go.
Buckle up.
Happen?
Right. Okay, so in addition to that, how about weird talents or a party trick? What's something that you're really, really good at, maybe around the house or outside of work, and it has no impact on your business, but you just have a knack for it?
I'm really good at claw machines.
Oh, like the prize thing, like dig for a prize?
Yeah, it's kind of like a weird obsession, because I love claw machines and I know I always get a stuffed animal. Like almost always get a stuffed animal. And my sister actually, for my husband and I's wedding, at our reception, brought out a claw machine. So the claw machine was there that people could get an animal there at our wedding.
That is perfect. That's an art.
Yeah, it is an art. It is an art. I'd like to say it's an art. I think my oldest son has that gene too. So, we're just we're just claw machine family, sadly.
The claw. Wasn't that from Toy Story? The claw. Yeah. I totally forgot about this for many years until you just brought that up. But there was one time where my brother and I and my mom were getting bagels. We were really, really young, but growing up, and the bagel store had a claw machine in it, and there was some random guy in there. It was a middle-aged man who was just really, really good at it, and he kept winning and like giving us all the stuffed animals. So we had like a ton of stuffed animals from that day, and I think we must have been like the only kids there, so he just like gave it to us. So it was like our lucky day. In hindsight, maybe like a little creepy. Nobody knows the story with this guy, but was very nice. Was a nice surprise that day, and yeah, now him and you are both people that are incredibly good at claws. So you got great company.
I'm just laughing that there was a claw machine in the bagel shop.
Yeah. It might have been a donut shop, or it might have been both, but either way,
They should put some bagels in there. You have to grab the bagel to eat it.
they should. Yeah, just like stick a foam sword through there and get it that way. All right, let's before we get too off the rails here, because you'll never know what's gonna happen. Let's wrap up with some rapid fire Q&A. You ready for it?
Yes.
All right, let's get wild. As if we're not getting wild already. What is an invention that your tiny inventor son has conceived of?
He thought of for crackers, when you eat crackers and the crumbs fall out, a cracker sleeve that you hold, that you hold, and there's like a little tie on the end. I mean, he was real into he like pitched it to me, and I did not, go for it, but I thought that's a great idea. So it's the little chip crumb holder.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, crumbs are a big problem.
Triscuits like shred off.
Yeah, I love Triscuits, but yeah, they're crummy. I always think it's like with granola bars too. With you see those memes everywhere of the Nature Valley bars that just the label says crumbs everywhere. Like it's a real thing. So you might be onto something with the cracker sleeve or the crumb sleeve. How about big babies? So you mentioned one of your sons was a 10-pound baby. You're working on one right now. It might be as well. What was your initial reaction when you found out that your son is over 10 pounds?
Well, that's when he came out. I mean, the doctor told me that he was like 7 pounds like a week before I went in. And then he came out and I'm like, oh, I just had a toddler, I mean, he like walked out and like wanted to go to the vending machine. So I don't know. It was really, really weird. But I mean, it was, even the doctor was like, oh, okay, this is not what I expected. So it was crazy.
That is too funny. I mean, I'm imagining like a like day one, like your son is just like a world's strongest man competition, just jacked. So that's good for you.
He like leaves the hospital room to go to the cafeteria to get something to eat, after he comes out. I mean, it was just like, what is happening?
Yeah, like, Mom, I got this. You don't have to worry about anything. How about the claw machine? So what is a tip that anybody can use to get better at doing the claw?
You have to make sure when you get the claw where you want it above the stuffed animal, wait for the claw to stop jiggling around in the air. Like wait till it's still and then go down. And I always hold the button like the whole time when it's down.
Ooh, that's a great tip. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about with the jiggling claw there. I think that was my problem and why I never got it except for like strange dudes at a bagel store.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then last one, back to theater. You studied theater in both UCLA and NIU. So you got Illinois, you got California there. Very different experiences. But what's been the biggest difference between spending some time living in both LA and Illinois / like greater Chicago area? I don't even know. Wait, what town is NIU in?
Well, first of all, I was only in UCLA for like a summer program. So it wasn't like I didn't go to school there.
Right. You got a little taste of it though.
A little taste of it. And NIU I actually first started at University of Iowa and I didn't have a degree of anything yet. And that's in Iowa. So everybody knows there's a lot of corn there. And then I transferred to Northern Illinois University, which also has a lot of corn. So that's in Illinois, kind of in the middle of the cornfields of Illinois. And that was about 45 minutes from my hometown. So I still live in Illinois, in Naperville, Illinois. And it's just a lot of corn.
Besides the corn and the weather, what's the biggest difference between LA and Illinois / land of the corn?
Just the style, I think, clothing wise, personality wise. People thought that when I was there for that summer for a little bit, they thought that I had like a Chicago accent. I don't hear it myself, but they noticed my accent right away. And I've never heard that until I'd been out there.
Right. Yeah. I'm from Cleveland and went to school at Indiana, IU, and lots of friends from Chicago. And definitely Totally with you on that. Like, I think growing up, I didn't hear it at all. Now I can hear it in your voice a little bit because, like, earlier today, I interviewed somebody with a totally different accent. So, kind of back to back, it's apparent. But otherwise, I don't think I would notice anything. But yeah, people talk about the Chicago accent all the time.
I know my husband's from Ohio, and I feel that he has more of a Chicago accent more than I do. And growing up from Ohio, so I don't know if it's just a Midwest thing or what,
Yeah.
but they could tell I was from the Midwest. So I think that's it. And I can tell when people are from California too, just by I think it's like the O's. I can't even imitate it, but you don't want me to imitate
It's the O's. What city is your husband from in Ohio?
Menor, Ohio.
Oh, no way. Okay, very cool. Well, I hope he's gotten over the fact that my senior year we beat them in football, Solon. But I'm sure that wasn't against him. But but very cool. Mentor's a huge high school on the east side of Cleveland, and yeah, not too far from where I grew up. So very small world.
Right.
Lindsey, thank you so much. This has been an absolute blast, and I feel like I'm ready to like go right after the claw machine, but start a business as well. But really appreciate your time and sharing, everything Totes Babies world as well as the claw machine and toddlers just walking right out. But thanks so much for coming on. Where is the best place for people to try out Totes Babies as well as connect with you online?
And thank you for having me too. Anybody can visit us at totesbabies.com. We're on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram at Totes Babies. And we're also available at Bye Bye Baby, Bed Bath & Beyond, Walmart, and more to come. And Amazon. I'm sorry. We're on Amazon.
Awesome. And last thing, stage is yours. It could be a quote. It could be a tote. Oh, see, I worked another one in there. It could be whatever you want. Send us home here. Final thoughts. It could be, just a little words of wisdom to wrap this up.
Oh gosh, I'm caught off guard. I think just go for it. I think, and that's cheesy to say, but I think so many people are in their heads about starting a business or just doing anything. You're not going to know unless you just go for it. You don't have, you just go blindly and learn as you go. That's better than never trying and looking back and having a rocking chair regret when you get older, wishing that you would have done something. So I think going for it and learning as you go, to me, is not only exciting and scary, but it's something that you don't want to look back and regret not going for something you want to do.
Go for it, Totes. Thank you so much, Lindsey, for coming on the podcast, sharing your incredibly cool Totes baby story and claw machine and giant babies and all sorts of insight and entertainment. And thank you so much, wild listeners, for tuning in to another episode. If you want to hear more wild stories like this one, make sure to follow the Wild Business Growth Podcast on your favorite app and tell a friend about the podcast. And then try out Totes Babies with them if you could fit in the car seat carrier. You can also find us on Good Pods, where there are really good podcasts and podcast recommendations. And for any help with podcast production, you can learn more at maxpodcasting.com and sign up for the Podcasting to the Max newsletter. That's at maxpodcasting.com/newsletter. Until next time, let your business run wild. Bring on the bongos!